What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? This is the host of the Buzzing with Marlowe podcast. I am yours truly, Warren Marlowe. And first and foremost, guys, just from the Buzzing with Marlowe podcast, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Christmas is Monday, ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell. But first, let's get it going. First and foremost, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Hit that notification bell to stay in contact with all our platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, all that. We are there. Let's say it again. We are there. And of course, guys, you can catch us on all audio platforms, just to name a few: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Podchaser, Podvine, Good Pods, and all Apple platforms, and including Pandora. That's right, guys. I hope everybody is doing well. It is a festive day, as you can tell. I'm rocking the Christmas spirit. But guys, I need to also talk about some awesome merch that we got. First and foremost, I want to talk about my bonfire shop. Bonfire/Buzzing with Marlowe. We have 4 different lines, ladies and gentlemen. People have been asking for the man, the red, white, and blue man himself. So we got merch for him. That's right, guys. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, all that for the American Prodigy. Go in there, get you the cartoonish logo on the front, the American flag on the back. And man, I'm telling you, it's going to be some awesome adventures that we have got. Some big things going up next year. But we got that one. We've got the basic, Buzzing with Marlowe logo. All different shirts. You can get them in every single thing, including hats. Very popular product. You can also get season 5's new logo. We're morphing into season 5 logo. You can get those on everything as well, and including the hats now. I know people have been requesting it. We've got them on the hats again. And of course, guys, we have every setback makes one heck of a comeback line as well. If you ever felt like you need to overcome the odds and prevail, type in the promo code BUZZ20. Get you 10% off. Bonfire/Buzzing with Marlowe. Get your merch. It's an awesome holiday gift. Obviously, guys, we've got big things going on. Like I said, Monday is Christmas. I am still just astonished to hear all these things. But, man, we're here. It's episode 151. Oh, my goodness. 151. The last episode we were here on the Buzzing with Marlowe, of course, was Commission Talks. But before then was Blessings and Beatdowns. Man, I want to first and foremost once again thank DCCW and the whole production crew, the whole promotion, the whole area of McClenny, Florida. Y'all came out and did y'all's thing. We were competing with a parade, and then we found out it was only 20 minutes, and y'all came literally right from the parade into the action, and it couldn't have been any better, man. Thank y'all once again. We had an absolute blast. It was a great turnout. The ending was really cool, really getting to, throw a bunch of stuffed animals to a lot of the fans and kids and families and stuff like that. It was really awesome. But guys, we are here. It is time, and I'm not going to waste any more time, guys. We've got an awesome episode planned for you today. We have got a returning guest today, man. First and foremost, man, I want to thank the ones that pay the bills. I'm talking about Dubby, Jitterless Energy, guys. As you could tell, Christmas is coming. We have got to be prepared, get those last minute shopping, get you the groceries that you need for your holiday cheers. And of course, you need to make sure you can try to get into the gym before all this goes down. I rock with Dubby. That's right, man. They've got tubs of awesome flavors. They're not super sweet. It's insane to know they're sugar free. And of course, guys, if you are sensitive to caffeine, these are the way to go to because they are jitterless. Let me say it again, jitterless energy. You could also get stickers, hats, everything. Type in promo code BUZZ20 and get 10% off of your purchase. Type in w.gg.com. Type that promo code in and save you some awesome money. The holidays are all right here, man. I tell you right now, W is a good Christmas gift to get for somebody. And including for yourself. Like I said, man, you got to get that energy, get that pump, get that right and rolling because it's going to be a crazy, chaotic weekend. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. My kids are ready. They love Christmas. No, I don't think any kid don't love Christmas. It's going to be awesome, man. I'm excited. I'm in a great festive mood today. So, guys, how about we get started with the episode? Let's talk about it, man. My guest today is Dave Ebert. That's right, man. Dave is back. The ministry, man, is back. Is doing exactly what he did last time, conquering the trafficking world, making smiles on people's faces that literally go through so much trauma in their life, and to get rid of it and to help somebody, let them know, hey, it's going to be okay. Life has been struggling for you at times, but things can get better. This can be just a temporary thing, not the full pain and sorrow that you've gone through to put a smile on your face and change the world. And man, let me talk about it. We're going to go in and talk about, obviously, the ministry, the new things that David and his wife have been planning out. They're also going to be on tour pretty soon, the ministry scenarios, and help these people all around the world, man. So, guys, I'm not wasting no more time. And, of course, guys, 2 wrestlers are going to dissect the recent SummerSlam. So, guys, we ain't going to waste no more time. It's going to be an awesome one. So when the countdown goes 30 to 1, after this commercial break, we will be joined with Dave Ebert. And ladies and gentlemen, ho, 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 a Merry Christmas. We starting in 3, 2, 1, right now.
Spend time with your family?
Sure I do.
Good.
People, what's good? What's happening? What's going on? Yo, it's me, Brian B. That's right, and I'm telling you guys to head on over to YouTube today and make sure you subscribe to the Beeline Entertainment LLC. Check us out. We all over the place.
FBI, open up!
following program is rated TV.
Hi guys, I am here and I have the one, the only, once again, welcome back, the improv man himself, Dave Ebert. How you doing, man?
Hey man, it's good to be back. I'm doing well. How are things going in your neck of the woods?
Ooh.
All right. My name's Dave Ebert. No relation to the late great film critic, but I do live in Chicagoland. And in 2013, after finding my way back to the Lord, I came to Chicago, started improv ministry, and have been doing that for 10 years. And that led to me being able to use improv to minister to women who've survived sex trafficking. And it's also allowed me many opportunities just to bring people together to laugh, to really just come together and find hope through the gift of laughter. And so that has led to my next venture, which you might notice if you're watching the video feed, improv missionaries. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, through the show. But I'm moving from just doing improv as ministry on a short, small scale. My wife and I are going out and going to use improv to minister to more people around the country. And we'll be starting that very soon as full-time U.S. missionaries. Will be actually, based on my research, the first ever improv missionaries. So that's kind of the nutshell version of my bio. One of the things that connected me with our host is that we both spent time in the squared circle, throwing people around, and that's actually where most of my improv training came from, was being in the wrestling world for about 8 years. Yeah, my knees and my back don't want me to do it again, but whenever you're a pro wrestler, there's never a real retirement. It's more or less just it's longer between your last match. So one of these days, I'm probably going to get back in there and remind myself why it's been 11 years since I've had a match.
I like that one. I love that one. You ain't lying, man. My first one back, I felt so awkward at the time. I just did not look the way I looked, even though everybody was like, and the funny thing is, the crowd and the audience is just sitting like, oh my gosh, he's back. This is really awesome. Like, he don't look like he missed anything. And I've had people tell me that. And
Nice.
in my mind, I'm sitting there, I'm looking at them like, man, I felt like I was a little bit slower. I felt like I was doing this. Like, I get into my head so much, but I love when you talk about we don't really ever really retire. Because I remember the last time we talked, I was contemplating. I remember I told you I was going to go see a doctor and see what they would say. And obviously now everybody knows I'm back in the ring and stuff now. But yeah, Dave, it's pretty cool to see how you transition from doing art of pro wrestling to improv. And not only just the improv, most people that do improv, it's, just in a comedy standpoint. And it's kind of in a way, the comedy references were back then and were inappropriate at times, which was funny at the times. But now I think the world would not think they're so funny nowadays. But for you to go in there and help somebody, because what we look at when we wrestle is we don't take that visualization until we get hurt and realize what purpose we really do to be in that ring. Like, obviously in us, we're thinking, all right, we're making this money. We're going to try to get this draw, maybe get rated on film, maybe be in the top 100s in this state or wherever we are at that time. But we are supposed to help people have an escape for that 2 hours, that 1 hour, that 15-minute squaffle that we have. You're still doing that. And you're not even in the square circle. You're doing stuff to help someone that has been through in a horrific tragedy. And these are stuff that they have to live with the rest of their life. And, it does something to them. For them to have something like this, for them to go, that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I like this. You just made my day. I haven't smiled in 4 years or 15 months or something like that. Yeah. That's something to show a true testament of not only who you are, but also to show what kind of a person you are. And that's something to really speak very proud of.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The power of human connection, it's clear that we were designed to be together and to share each other's burdens to find that escape, whether it's, like I said, at a wrestling show. Not only are we performing in the ring for the audience, but it's for each other. We're helping support each other, because my job in a match and your job in a match is whether we're opening the show or mid-card or main event, our job is to tell an overarching story, to support one another. My job as the opener is to make sure that your job as a main event guy is easier. And your job as a main event guy is to make me as the opener have an audience to even perform for. So it's more than just the people sitting in the chairs. It's the boys in the back. It's the guys that are doing announcing. It's the promoters. And the same thing with improv. It's all about not just the people in the crowd. It's the people on stage with me. They're my scene partners. And it's all about connection and that escape, because whether we go to a wrestling show or improv show, all the burdens that we face, all the bills that we owe, all the, if we got tickets, we got to, go pay tickets. We got to do this, got to do that. Those are going to be waiting for you. They're out there in the parking lot, but we need the escape. That's why movies are amazing, because you have that hour and a half, 2 hours, or if you go to some other movies, 3 hours. It's an escape. And a movie is one thing, but live theater, whether it's pro wrestling or improv, you connect and you feel like you're not alone. When you're cheering with an audience, when the baby face comes out on top and you cheer, you're admitting something about yourself. You're like, yeah, I'm part of this team that's supporting this guy. And then when you're at an improv show and you laugh at something, you realize you have something in common with the other person that just laughed. You guys see things the same way, so that you're not alone. And that helps whatever's waiting for you outside in the parking lot seem a little bit less daunting, because you realize I'm not alone. There's a little bit of hope here. And whether or not it's an opportunity to actually minister and talk about Jesus in that moment, just by sharing that moment of hope, ministers in a way that will eventually plant those seeds and point them to the cross.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I love how you explain that, because we go through life, and things are going to challenge us at times. I mean, when we got into pro wrestling, we weren't literally just the main eventers and, sky to the rocket. You had a better push at first getting into the business than I did, I will say. But you earn it. You have to earn it. And I feel like, that's what you do in life. You have to earn what you approached and what you're brought. And regardless of what occupation and stuff like that, you always should be challenged. If you don't get challenged, then there's something wrong. But for this scenario, for what you're doing and the purpose that you're doing it, you are in a whole different level, a whole different class, man. Because honestly, I can't say a lot of people would do things that you're doing. For the improv standpoint, for you to help somebody that's been very traumatized, I mean, it does something to somebody. And I think, I remember when I went in my rock bottom moment, regarding my kid and stuff like that, which we just now when this is recorded, the surgery and everything has been done. And there's been some struggles at times for him because, he's got this neck collar on. He can't really move. You're telling an autistic 11-year-old, hey, don't do this, don't do that. It does not go well at all. But the stuff that I've seen him go through at a very young age, I literally look at myself, why am I stressing? Why am I stressing about no bills? Why am I stressing about, me and my wife are having an argument or something like that? Why am I stressing about these little things that somewhat I can control at times? Yeah. But you also got to realize it's okay to not fully control everything.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to let stuff happen. You have to let, just release it, whatever you need to do. And for that, I applaud you because, like I said, man, the stuff that I was going through with my son and stuff, it was not easy. You're going to a hospital with an 11-year-old boy, and he's going through a real bad surgery. Like my son had to go through a spinal infusion surgery because of his scoliosis and stuff like that. And he's got 2 rods from C2 all the way down to a C6 on his back of his neck. So he's literally the $6 million man right now. I make the joke with him. I was like, you kept calling Nina a Terminator, so you best be the baby-nator. So it's kind of a funny little joke out of it, but it's still a scenario that's real serious. And to see him smile, when he finally got out of the hospital, it made all those tragedies and that pain to go away. So for you to do what you're doing, and now you're going to do it as a missionary. You're not just doing it here in the U.S. anymore. Now it's time to go and travel. You're basically in a wrestling mindset in a way because you're hitting the road still, but it's not with a car. It's plane and whatever else you're going to have to do. So what's made that transition?
So in October, actually on Halloween, I went to because for the last 4.5 years I've been teaching improv to survivors of sex trafficking in Chicago with an organization called Salt and Light Coalition. And on Halloween, I was teaching a workshop, and I'd taken the day off of work, used my last paid day off, and went and I started, I did the workshop, and I was checking my work phone while I was driving into the city, and I saw all these emails and all these messages of my work duties being split up among people. Because what was happening was that day, it was a Monday, they were laying off a whole host of people. And I was supposed to be in that meeting to get laid off, and I wasn't supposed to see any of those emails. But because I was off, I saw the emails and realized, oh, I'm losing my job today. And but I got to the city, I did the workshop, and it was really powerful because 2 of the ladies in that workshop had never shared their testimony, never shared their story of what happened to them, how they've been abused, how they first got sold into trafficking. And for many people, they think that trafficking is exclusively, women or children who are just picked up and locked away into some sort of a brothel, and there are those that it happens to, but there are a lot who live, I guess, normally out and about. They go to the store, they have somewhat of a life, but the thing is, they have people who watch them. They have handlers. Some people would use the term pimp, who text them and says, "Hey, you need to be at this place at this time to do whatever," and they have to be there. And the thing is, these, for lack of a better term, pimps have so much power, so many connections. These women have no idea who they can trust, who they can say, "Hey, I need help." And so these two women were able to share that story for the first time ever in a public setting. Obviously, to get into the program, you have to kind of share your story privately, but in a public setting with a small audience of who was in the workshop, they shared, and it was just a powerful moment, and you could feel that God had his hand on that meeting. So when they did that, we just, a lot of tears, a lot of happy tears, a lot of, just breakthrough happening. And when I left, I thought, okay, well, God was kind of giving me the old attaboy, like, I got you. I know you're losing your job, but here's a good day. Here's a present. And so I left. All right, so God's got us no matter what's happening. But I started talking to my pastor, my wife, and we all started praying and realized that God wasn't just saying attaboy. He was actually saying, this is where you're going. Now that now that you have a clear calendar, I want you to get into full-time ministry and do this more. Because in Chicago alone, there are about 25,000, they estimate, who are being trafficked, bought and sold on the streets of Chicago on a daily basis. Around the world, anywhere from 4 to 10 million people are being bought and sold around the world. So that's a lot of people who, when they escape, when they are finally rescued, they need aftercare. Because they're rebuilding their lives. Many of them are, some of the women I've worked with have been sold as young as 9, 10 years old, and were being bought and sold for as many as 15, 20 years. And so that's a lot of rebuilding that has to be done. And through improv and just being able to have fun, it breaks down a lot of the walls that are in the way of healing. And one of the things that is so powerful is the fact that they've been through hell by men, because it's men that have bought and sold them. And here I am as a man coming in, having positive interactions, healthy relationships, modeling when my wife is able to come, modeling a healthy marriage, so that it helps foster that environment of hope and healing. And so now we're going to be doing that full time. I've been connecting with other organizations that work with women who survived sex trafficking and offer that aftercare. And there's a part of me that really feels like this is all God's timing, because here I am entering this field the same year that Sound of Freedom comes out, which was delayed for 5 years. And now all of a sudden it all comes together. So I think God is really moving to reach out to those who have been broken by this modern day slavery.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's sickening that this stuff happens. It's sickening to know that people do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's crazy. Like, me being a father of a little 4-year-old right now, my daughter, I could never imagine something like that with her. And, some of these families that have to deal with this and have to go through, their child, their daughter, their mom, or someone like that go through something like that. That's just, it's crazy to me. I mean, it's sickening more than anything. And it's sad that people are really like that in this world, and it's crazy. So you did say y'all are going to go on missionaries and stuff like that. Y'all are literally going to pack up and hit the road or hit the air or hit wherever. So where are
Yeah.
some of the locations that y'all got planned out to go?
Mostly we're going to be domestic in the U.S. because sad to say that the richest, most powerful country in the world is also the biggest purchaser uh, of the sex trades, and so we've already made connections with a group in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'll continue working here in Chicago, and there's actually another group in Chicago that I'm working on connecting with. There's a group in Kansas City, Missouri, and there's a group near Dallas. I'm trying to, get on the schedule that works exclusively with children who have been trafficked. So it's sickening and it's sad that the country that is the freest, most powerful, the richest country in the world is also the most guilty of enslaving people, children, men, and women. And the hopes is that through raising awareness, through our ministry, working in the aftercare, that we would be able to work ourselves out of a job. It would be amazing for me to come back to you in 5 years. Like, guess what, man? We no longer have anybody to serve. Everybody's been pulled out. All the evil people have been put to jail or are put under the ground. And so we're out of a job. So we're looking again. I would love to have that testimony in 3 or 5 years. But the reality is we're in a broken, fallen world where the rich and powerful will use people for whatever purposes they want. And so my job is to go out and serve. And I would love to be able to reproduce what we're doing. I love to have, a whole team of people using comedy and the communication building skills of improv to help all the victims who are coming out really find their voice, tap into their personality again. And that's where improv is so good because it forces you to get past all the walls and really pull out what's inside. And for many of these survivors, they've had to bury all that because you can't have a personality, you can't have hope, you can't really have a functioning sense of humor because you're just trying to survive. And any of that becomes a distraction, and any of that could cause a negative interaction with the client, which causes a really painful experience with the pimp or the handler because you're costing them money because you're daring to have hope and not doing what you're supposed to do. So they have to stuff that all down just to survive. And with improv, with being able to laugh and start breaking down some of those walls, they can really find a little bit of freedom just by laughing and just by shedding the burdens of what they're carrying.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's still crazy to know that people have a mindset to do something like that to such a young individual.
Yeah.
And like you just said, man, y'all are traveling, but the main spot is what we call home.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes you really contemplate what are our main focuses when we talk about when we watch the news and stuff like that. And you just know where all this stuff we're based off of anger, we're based off of all these crazy obnoxious things that we see on the news or the reports about this or reports about that. We're not really focusing on what really needs to be a stop, a complete stop. And it's what you're doing right now. And for you to do that and your wife to contribute this as well, like that just speaks very big volumes of how much you care about just someone in general. Like I said, man, with my 4-year-old daughter and me ever thinking that someone could ever do this, like when you first hold your child and you look at this child and you say, I'm going to give it the world and I'm going to do the absolute best I can for you. And for a parent that had that moment, get it devastatingly taken away just from something like that. It's just insane to really think about it. And like you just said, man, same just happened overseas. That's the sad part. That's
Yeah.
the really hard part to really grasp. It's happening probably down the road from you.
Hmm.
It's probably happening at one of your favorite spots. It might be happening at somewhere where you've literally have grown up watching as a childhood and you think it's the happiest place on earth, and it's necessarily something that's exporting into that. I mean, it's sad and sickening in so many ways that this goes on in life. This happens. And for you to make that stand, for y'all, I know that's going to be a big transition from y'all going from Chicago to just wherever else that you are feeling like y'all need to go to make that difference. That is just speaks of really y'all's purpose. Like you
Yeah.
just said, man, you wish maybe in the next episode you're like, hey man, I'm making six figures, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I mean, everybody would love to do that, but
Right.
I feel like you're already rich. You're rich bringing a daughter home. You're rich bringing somebody a smile that has not been able to smile for 8 years due
Yeah.
to a sound movement or something like that that has traumatized this person insanely. The one thing I can even compare to something towards that has got to be like the military. Like when you go through experiences overseas, like, you know, a sudden movement, a scratch on the window, or just a little sound that just makes you just freak and you panic because it puts you into a different channel in your body. Is like, oh my gosh, I thought I ran away from this. I thought this was
Mm.
over. Like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, well, what's going on? Like, it's making you second guess a lot of things. And it's sad that people have to witness this and go through this because somebody is trying to make the next dime off of somebody, and it's sickening,
Yeah.
very sickening. So, Dave, like you just said, you and your wife, you do these things together. Y'all do these improvs and stuff like that. So, what are some of the, like, obviously I think we've talked about before, but what was one of the most meaningful things that I know you do it, I know you find a purpose and stuff, but there's sometimes I know since you've been doing it for so long, it's kind of like how you were in the ring where you're just like, all right, we're doing this, I get to this part, I'm gonna do this part, I'm gonna do this part, and then we're gonna send it off the show.
Mm.
Where was it where you really took back and you go, wow, I changed that girl's life, I made
Yeah.
that girl smile. I did this. Like, have you had those moments? Have you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
had those moments where you're just constantly moving and you don't realize what's going on? But then when someone really tells you that you changed them, it makes you feel like you're the wealthiest person on the planet.
Absolutely. There was a on Halloween when we did the workshop, and one of the ladies that shared her story for the first time, for security and obvious reasons, I can't use her name,
Mhm.
but she changed that day. Like, by being able to finally shed light on the story, and by finally being able to stand up and admit that she has overcome, through the power of the Lord, through the support, she's overcome, she's beat this, and it's now her past. It's not her present, it's not the burden she's carrying, it's behind her. She's completely different. She went from being somebody that's just going through a program trying to get back on her feet. Now she's one of the volunteer coordinators with the group. So she's gone from being served and treated and brought through the program to now she's passing it on. And just seeing there's a glow in her. Like, every time I see her, there's a glow, like the first day of salvation every single day, because she's a new person. And yeah, I just absolutely love going there and seeing her and getting to just see the residuals, because the chains were broken and now she's free to help others find the way to break their chains. She met my wife a few weeks ago, and they embraced like they were long lost sisters, because she was just so free and just was through that hug. And I'm not boasting and not bragging on myself, but through the hug, she was trying to tell my wife basically that, she's just so appreciative of what we have been doing, and that my wife has let me go and serve. So just seeing that happen, knowing that other women that I've worked with, they're now becoming executives in other organizations, and they're rising up the corporate ladder because they now have confidence in themselves. They know that they're free of their past, and they can now look to the future instead of feeling like they're carrying this big
Mhm.
sack of burden with them. There's just so many of these stories, and the one example I love to tell is there was a lady that came into one of our classes, and part of the program at Salt and Light is you have to participate. There is no coming and sitting cross-armed and just not being in. You have to do it. It's part of your agreement to get the various services that they're giving. And so this one comes in, and you could tell that she just had a rough day. She's somebody that, if I understand her story correctly, she was first sold for a hit of drugs for her parents when she was 9 years old. Her parents offered her to the drug dealer. The dealer said, "Sure, I'll give you guys a fix for an hour with your 9-year-old." And so that ruined her childhood, ruined her teens, her 20s, and now here she is. I think she had a kid, and she's trying to find a place to live. She's trying to find a job. So she comes in carrying all of these burdens, painful past, the betrayal of her parents, fighting the court systems, because the court systems don't look at the extemporary circumstances. They see, okay, so you've been on drugs, you've been arrested for this, that, and the other thing. The courts don't look at why; they just look at the facts, and they're like, "You are a criminal. We don't want to give you your daughter back, and we can't clean your record so you can get a place to stay." So she's carrying all this, and she's coming to an improv class, and she had that look on her face. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It goes basically it's saying, "I wish somebody would," meaning
Mhm.
they're waiting for somebody to say the right thing, do the right thing, or look the right way at her so that she would feel justified in unleashing all of that rage and just taking it out on whoever said it or did it or even just looked at her the wrong way. And she came in with that burden, with that rage ready to explode. But we started a game called Bippity Bippity Bop, which is we get in a circle and we just try to trip each other up. Silly kids game, a lot of fun. There's so much fun in the failure. It's not about being good at the game. It's about having fun and finding fun in the failure. So about 5 minutes in to this game of Bippity Bippity Bop, you've seen her completely crack up. You've seen all of these burdens fall off her shoulders. The arms come down. The forehead is relaxed. The eyebrows are relaxed. And she's a completely different person within 5 minutes because she's laughing. She's giggling. She might have snorted once or twice. And yeah, those burdens that she was carrying into the door, they're going to be waiting for her as soon as the class ends. But for those 30, 45 minutes, she's a different person. She sees that there's hope. She sees that there's more than what she's carrying. And so seeing those transformations happen every workshop, every time we go, I know that God's got his hand on it, and he's going to use something as creative as improv to make a difference in more lives throughout the country and wherever else he wants to send us.
Yeah, I like that. I totally agree. And I love when you said, I love the name of that, the Bibbidi Bop. I like that, the Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop. I like that. That's pretty creative. I
Yeah.
mean, you gotta get a little smile in there when you just say the name of the game like that. That's pretty cool. Like how you just said, for her to be glowing, and it's like
Yeah.
she's been rejuvenated, like she's been a whole different person, like that person that she's had. I use this saying very often. I think we said it on the last time I said it was every setback makes for one hell of a comeback.
Yeah.
And I really believe, and I've experienced this and just recently too, with my son and surgery and stuff like that. Me and his mom have never been getting along for a long time.
Mm.
We literally were able to get along to help Matthew through his procedure. And it's crazy to believe, and I even talked to my mom about it recently. She was like, Matthew talked about so highly about how cool it was to see his mom and dad working together, not arguing, not getting irritated, not these little things. How cool it was for him to see mommy and daddy in one room, but around him, and he said he made him feel whole. And that was one reason why he wasn't crying so much, is because mommy and daddy were here. And it struck me. It did struck me because, you know, we've had our things. We've had this arguments and stuff. And I mean, from more on her side, I'm not going to sit here and play teeter-totter with it. But I think this both made us have a real big outlook of what we look at. And it's like, you know what, the kingdom, what is between us, we got to put our son first. And, you know, it made us really different in a way. Like, I'm not literally seeing rage when I see her anymore and stuff like that. And that's something that I can speak on when you say, don't let the past dictate how you are as a person. Don't let the past dictate what's going on now. Like I tell people, man, there's a reason why there's a such thing as a today and a tomorrow. Today is now, tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is something that you can make of. You can make it better than yesterday, or you can do what you want, but it's your path and it's your choice.
Yeah.
Don't let that drought literally drag you from not only just a tomorrow, but to the next day, the next day, and the next day. It doesn't do well. It does not help you. It does not make anything better. In reality, it makes you really feel more lonely at times. Not only lonely, you start realizing why your purpose is here. Like you have nobody, you don't see nothing. And I'm sure you've experienced this before with some of the people that have gone through it. And they're like, I don't want to live anymore. I've experienced these rough lives. I'm done. I've had enough. Like, I'm sure you've went through some of those stuff like that. For you to do what you're doing, to improv and make that difference, bro, I don't think not only are you making someone's days, but you've actually made them have a purpose to want to live. Even if it's for that 2 hours or whatever, you've made it to where they realize this world as a whole is not so bad anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's, you know, I'm not a hero, and when my wife and I travel, it's not that we're heroes. We're just trying to be vessels to, like you said, just kind of help open the door to the possibility that there's more. There's more than the past. There's more than the present. There's more than the burdens. There's more than the challenges. There's more. And there's a Father that wants to give you more. And I love the story that you're sharing about the fact that even though God didn't cause the need for the surgery and your son's struggles, but he's able to use it. He's able to use it as opportunity to get you and your son's mom to be on better terms, to realize, again, there's more than the things that are between you. The most important thing is being the rock for your son, so he knows that no matter how painful it is, no matter how much struggle it is to recover, to physical therapy or whatever it may be down the road, that he can lean into you all and know that he's got somebody that's in his corner regardless. And I think that's beautiful how God can use the most painful and frustrating and aggravating things like seeing your son struggle, but he's using it. He didn't cause it, because we're in a fallen, broken world and it rains on the just and the unjust alike. But God does cause all things, even the bad things, even the struggles, to work together. He works them together for the good of those who love him. And you guys are a living testimony to that.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. Dave, is there anything else you want to talk about the missionary? Do you want to talk about anything else regarding the improv? Obviously, being two pro wrestlers and stuff like that. I know you've probably still been watching some of it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We got to talk about one particular match itself. And I remember last time we talked, they were building something up with Cody.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you were talking about with Logan Paul with the Royal Rumble. Now, what is your opinions on some of the stuff that has been going on with wrestling?
I think WWE may have missed an opportunity recently. I think that they could have had Roman drop the belt to Jay. I think that build up would have been a great payoff. Give Jay the belt, and then let Roman win it back at Survivor Series, so that you got the 1,000-day reign, you got all that. You can't take it away from Roman Reigns. But now that he's got the belt, there's no more thinking of, well, he's not going to lose to this guy, he's not going to lose that guy, because now that streak has ended. Once he gets it back to Survivor Series or the Rumble, then it seems like, okay, there's a chance that he can lose any match. But now it's like, so he's clearly not going to lose it until at least WrestleMania.
Yeah. And we know who it is against. We all know who it is now.
Yeah.
I love the story that they're telling with that. I got to say, for Brock Lesnar, best performance he's ever done. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people don't realize when Brock wrestles somebody, Brock is really he looks out for he does look out for him, but the way the audience views the matches, it's not benefiting the wrestler that he's working with.
Right.
If that makes sense. Great example. The match he did with Eddie Guerrero is probably still one of the best matches I've ever seen, just in an emotional standpoint wise, because when Eddie hit that frog splash, I don't care if you liked him, if you didn't, or whatever. You had a teardrop down when you saw this man get the 1, 2, 3 on Brock Lesnar of all people and win something that he has been putting his whole life towards. Eddie started wrestling at 15 years old, and to get that moment was amazing.
Yeah.
The matches that Brock would do with Cena, the matches that Brock would, the 30 matches that he would beat Roman Reigns on a main event on WrestleMania.
Right.
I guess now it's Roman beating everybody now. But it's like, I do agree with you. I don't believe it should have been with Jay. I think the only thing that they could have done with Jay, and my biggest problem with the match was itself, I think they should have used the family a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think Rikishi should have been involved. I feel like the Wild Samoans should have been involved. They weren't that far away from where they were. I know they weren't because they literally eat, sleep, and live wrestling at the time. Unless if they were at a ballpark for doing signings or something, that's the only way you see that they're not available.
Right.
Rock, could have probably gotten somewhere involved. I think there's still something to go with that. But I just felt like, and I called it. I said Jimmy's going to interfere. Jimmy's going to cause Jay the match, or he could do a whole different. Somebody's going to turn on Roman, and I thought maybe Solo could do that. And I love the little stories that they were telling. Was Solo was second guessing everything Roman was doing, and it was beautiful what they were doing with that. And I told everybody, I said, man, less is more. Watch this story pan out. Now, the match itself, I wasn't super excited about. I wasn't super happy about it. I felt like it was way too long. The story was not really being told in the ring, if it makes sense.
Yeah, it wasn't tribal combat. It was just a hardcore no DQ match.
It really was, and there were some times where I felt like the fans were feeling a little lost in the match.
Yeah.
And there's no discredit to Jay. Jay earned that main event, and Jay did a great job. But there was some things that you could just tell that were kind of off key. Even as family members, I could tell Roman felt a little off key with some of the moves that Jay was doing and some of the moves that Roman was doing. Like they just kind of did not feel like they were in sync that moment. I know there were some spots when they were bleeding or something like that. I think one of them lost consciousness for like a good 2 seconds or something like that. I know Roman did. Roman got knocked out on one spot. I remember the table spot. I think that's where it was on him. But it was so good what they were telling from that whole beginning. And I literally said Jimmy was going to be involved. Everybody's like, no, that don't make no sense for Jimmy to do it. I said, it makes perfect sense for Jimmy to do it because now he's going to have an involvement with it. Now you're going to get the Usos to go against each other. But here's more importantly, the bloodline is now so deteriorated. So when it does go to that time for Cody to chase Roman one more time, there's nobody to interfere in this match because the biggest benefit of why Cody lost the match to Roman was because of Solo, was because of the numbers game. And I was so upset when Cody lost. Oh my gosh. I have never had a personal emotion. When Solo hit him with that spike, I just threw my water bottle. My wife looked at me and said, "Who are you?" Like, she always told me I never had an emotion or anything. I literally was devastated when Cody lost that match. I literally was so upset, man. I was just like, y'all had it. Y'all had the main event that everybody was drawing out to see. Everybody was coming in there like, I don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
Roman can win. Cody can win. Like, it was a big differential. Like, honestly, Roman was the underdog in that match, which was so hard to say. Like, Cody's coming in here from not even ever being a main eventer to coming back to WWE, beating Seth Rollins, tearing his pec. I still say if he never tore his pec, he would have won. I think that's what it was. He didn't have enough recognition to prove to the overall audience that, hey, he deserved this title. The hardcore wrestling fans were behind him because we've seen everything he's done. We've seen him go out the indies, reinvent himself to a drastic T, draw an independent show that's not a WWE and sell the building out. Go over 10,000 fans. That is a big achievement. I don't care what anyone says. Like, that was a huge, stellar achievement for anybody. And then go and make AEW and to make what it was doing. Now, it is what it is, but it is there, is an extra alternative, is made beneficial stuff for so many guys that we've probably shared a ring with, probably guys that we have been around and stuff like that. I've seen some guys that I've seen to get on a bigger shows just because of this promotion. And it's like, we saw there was nothing else Cody could do to win the title. But now after I saw that match with Brock, I know the whole reason why Cody didn't win that match. And it's like, fans were just, and I loved the way they were jerking the curtain with this one, because fans were just like, oh, another Brock Lesnar versus Cody match. This is going to be another bathroom break, whatever. That match was the match of the night. And I feel like that was the biggest downfall for the main event and everybody else. Brock and Cody stole it in an old school format, like how you used to see Hulk Hogan wrestle. Like, it was that dang storytelling. You really saw Cody go through everything to finally beat Brock.
Yeah.
Stay down. Don't you come back in here. Don't you do this. Don't you do that. And I literally I looked at my wife and said, this is why I love wrestling. This is why. This makes you have a personal feeling. It makes you, question, does he have what it takes? Does he have what it is? Like, we can all talk about, oh, it's all predetermined or whatever. It may be predetermined in the back, but not out overall in the audience. You can find the dirt sheets, whatever, but it doesn't mean that it's a guarantee that that's what it said. Now, I feel like so many people watch wrestling because they want to be like a play-by-play caller. Like, oh, I called that. I did this and I did this. And when you go on DraftKings, then you don't win a dime because that didn't happen what Dave Meltzer told you that day. So it's like, I think that has been the coolest thing about that whole scenario. Now the story is being drawn out. The Mafia is starting to split. All that's left is Solo and Paul Heyman. I'm hoping so badly we're not going to see a Stone Cold type turn at WrestleMania in Philly, but it's kind of making sense. Paul Heyman turns on Roman and joins with Cody. I hope it doesn't happen like that, but it seems like it's going to, especially it's in Philly.
I don't know. I don't see Paul Heyman joining Cody because he's got the mic. He doesn't need
Another
he doesn't
mouthpiece.
no. And it's also hard to think who else could join the Bloodline. Who else is coming up that could fill in? Because it seems like the Usos are definitely done. So is it just Roman and Solo with Paul Heyman speaking? Because Solo's not the greatest on the mic. Roman's gotten a lot better as a heel. So if you're going to keep them together, you kind of need Paul with Solo. But I like the storyline of giving everybody the thought, like, okay, this is the year Cody's going to do it. He's going to live it. He's going to survive and do his father's dream. Like, oops, now we're going to make him wait another year. And
that building was silent. Silent.
Yeah.
I had friends that were at the show. Obviously, they were praising for Roman, but he would FaceTime and see the reaction of audiences just starstruck. Like, that doesn't happen in a wrestling promotion anymore nowadays.
No.
Especially WWE.
Right.
To see that main event go the way it did, Triple H sat there and looked at it and was like, this sucked, but it's also a great thing at the same time. Because now, when it does happen, in my opinion, still, if he wasn't going to win, I feel like he shouldn't have won the Rumble. Right. I feel like he should have won something like an Elimination Chamber or something like that, because now Rumble comes up. You don't want to see him win it again. You don't. I mean, what can you do to get that into that standpoint? Maybe make it where, hey, Roman, I had your number. You needed someone to beat me. Like, that's the first person that Roman did not fully beat on his own and was really getting one up every single time. Now they could do something like that, like what Seth is doing right now, where Seth is literally showing a personal vendetta with Cody. Like, I'm not teaming with you. I don't like you. I don't respect you. I don't care for you. You beat me. I need to beat you. Now, maybe that could be a story in there, but we all know that he's got to go after Roman. He's got to go after Roman. If it does not go well with that, the American Nightmare is probably going to get tarnished. And I hate to say it.
Yeah. It's tough because it almost feels like if Cody's belt comes from Seth and it's the new world heavyweight, it's not the same as if he beat Roman.
Yeah.
So I hope that's not the pinnacle. I hope that there's something in the works, because Cody has to be the one to beat Roman. Cody has to be the one to pin Roman at WrestleMania, because that's almost the implied promise of, all right, we're not going to give it to you this year. We'll give it to you next year. Mm-hmm. And I really think that what if I had a book, just shooting from the hip, I would find a way to maybe a Survivor Series, because you got both brands represented. They're going to bump heads, or at the Elimination Chamber is where you set up the feud with Cody and Roman going into Mania.
Yeah.
Your winner of the Royal Rumble to challenge needs to be LA Knight, who will challenge either Seth Rollins or whoever's got that belt at Mania. So whoever Seth drops it to should face LA Knight.
I see LA Knight win the World Heavyweight. I do see that. He's gonna get one for that one. I don't see him doing it on the SmackDown plateau.
No.
But I mean, that dude's red hot right now. My goodness.
To end the 1,000 or 1,400 day, whatever it's going to be at Mania, it has to be Cody. That's the only, because if you didn't drop it to Jey Uso, which you had the heat of the family feud going on, it would have made sense. Now you've broken the streak, and now Roman's free to win it back at Survivor Series or even at the Rumble, and then you're playing a little hot potato, but still, if you're able to break the streak, now Roman can lose wherever you need him to lose. But since you've protected the streak, the only one that can take it is Cody, because he's the hottest one.
Yeah.
And then LA Knight, he's the hottest one, but he's also got a few years on him. he's got to be the guy. He's got to win the Rumble, I think. And
I don't know, man. You got Gunter too, man. Gunter is he's a whole different level, man.
And that's what's hard because
that's what I love about this go around, man. The roster is all on their cues, man. Like Sheamus, Rey Mysterio still at a high level. I mean, like, even though Edge is gone, like, I won't even lie, I had shed a tear a couple of times seeing that 25 anniversary thing for Edge. He could still go if he wanted to, but I understand. But, we still got, they're in talks with Bray Wyatt coming back. And I'm literally going, he better bring his game because everyone is on point right now. The women's division, they're starting to slowly come back. I mean, it's not just one or two guys anymore that are red hot anymore. We're legitimately looking at the Attitude Era type genre. The whole roster is got a benefit to these shows. Like, it's got to show because look at WrestleMania. WrestleMania is almost sold out in the first day. Yeah. Like, an outdoor venue is probably going to be cold in that time. Yeah, like, I'm trying to go and I'm looking at the temperature level. I'm like, oh, it's outdoors, and I will be pissed if it's in 30-degree weather.
It's April and you're in the Northeast, so it could be 85.
I feel bad for the wrestlers, man. They're gonna be in tights, body oil, and stuff like that. Oh my goodness, those bumps are gonna be a little crisp.
and like you said, the roster is stacked because you got Gunther, who's obviously gonna be a world champion someday as long as he stays healthy. LA Knight should be a world champion someday. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, they both have legitimate cases to be an eventual champion.
Judgment Day.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Damian Priest.
Judgment Day, just as a whole, they are proven that they belong in any genre right now.
In all of your years of watching wrestling, have you seen someone get the legitimate heat that Dominic Mysterio gets? I mean, I have never seen a heel literally get shouted down at every city. They'll cheer Rhea Ripley like, yeah, we love Rhea. And then as soon as he goes here with the mic, you can't hear him.
And that's quote unquote Rhea's boyfriend on the story. So that's even the funnier part. They messed up on that. That's the only thing I hate about social media. Like, that story would be perfect, but we all know she's with Buddy. He's engaged to another person as it is. So it's clearly whatever. But the story that they're telling with it, Dominic, and we talked about it recently with another podcast. Dominic is in a class of his own when it regards to Mysterio, because he's not in his daddy's shadow no more. Like, he is legitimately his own.
Yeah, and this isn't even X-Pac heat. Back in the day, X-Pac had incredible heat, but he could still cut a promo. He could still do his thing and get even more heat. But people legitimately hate the Dominic Mysterio character to a point. He can't cut a promo. He can't do anything. And it's just brilliant. I almost think, I could see a scenario where WWE wants to capitalize on that and have him somehow screw Damian Priest and end up winning one of the titles just because they want that heat.
I think that's why they're kind of testing it out right now with him with the North American title, which has been smart because now you're getting, look at NXT's ratings now. NXT has now jumped rating wise because Dominic's defending that every week. Rhea's been on there now. You're getting Finn Balor on this show. You're getting Damian Priest on there. And they're really solidifying Judgment Day because Judgment Day was in a little of a drought for a little bit going into Mania. And it was almost to a point where they weren't going to be able to get out of that drought. Like, Rhea was the only benefit out of that at first. Dominic was getting benefit out of it. But it was looking at, like, where Damian and Finn are looking like second fiddles, like kind of like jokes on that group now. And that shouldn't have been the case because you're thinking Finn or Damian would have been the leader of the Judgment Day, which we clearly know Rhea is the honcho of that one. But for the thing with Damian and Finn, and like, oh my goodness, if there was a time where Seth should have lost to Finn was at SummerSlam. Yeah. Because Finn That 7, I got a personal feeling with it. I was like, bro, I don't know. He might win this one. It made me second guess it because they wrote 7 on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that would do something. He is, and the promos he was going very in depth. I loved it. I felt like Seth was going to win just because, with Damien and stuff, and I felt like that was going to give a real issue with them.
Yeah.
But the story that they're telling with everyone, and that's the thing I love about the roster right now. So many people are got stories in the storyline now. Now, it sucks for some of the guys too, because as many people are on that roster, you're not going to get all those on the show now, even in that 3-hour span, because now it's a make it or break it time, and everyone's in a storyline. Like stuff like Ricochet and Logan Paul, freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I still think Ricochet is still kind of careless in some moves, like especially, my thing with Logan is don't hesitate on moves, especially when you're working with Ricochet, because he's going regardless if you're ready or not.
Right.
And I think we witnessed that with the table spot. But the story that they told, and I was really impressed with the story that they told, hey, you're on this podcast. Don't mention my name. Don't you dare say my name out of your mouth. Like, that's now putting a benefit on his podcast. His podcast group's going to come into watching the show now because of stuff like that. It's just so smart of what they're doing, because in a way, as much as wrestling has been tore down from social media, they're using that to their positive benefit as well. And I love the recent interview that NJF was talking about, talking about the tribal fans. And he was like, well, I'm going to let this just break it out of the bag, whatever. Most of us are all friends. Most of us talk behind the scenes and we're like, hey, what can we do to piss them off to make this even interact and do with this? Like, and I was sitting there talking about, y'all talk about y'all know wrestling before it's happening, but y'all are getting worked more than anybody ever.
Yeah.
Than an average person that's watching it. And it's hilarious to me because people think that they know it and then they don't at the same time. But Dave, I want to thank you for coming on today, man. If there's anything you want to do, you want to give some last shout outs and anything, guys, the links will be below. Follow this man, check him out. This dude is making some big moves and big changes for everyone, man. If you can help contribute to anything that y'all can with these, man, Dave, the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Warren. It's been awesome being back on Buzzing with Marlowe. My wife and I are just really excited to get out in the mission field and really do full-time ministry. And the thing is, the groups we want to work with, the people that are working with survivors of sex trafficking, they don't have a budget to bring us in or bring other people in to work. They rely on volunteers. They rely on donations. And so what we're doing as missionaries is we're asking people who believe in our cause, who see what we're doing, to pray about supporting us. And you can do that if you go to improvmissionaries.giftsforglory.com. There will be a link to partner with us. And whether you want to do a one-time gift or you want to help us out with a monthly gift, you can do that through the Assemblies of God website. So that way you know that everything's on the up and up. They handle all the accounting, handle everything, so that you know that not only is your support tax deductible, but you also know that that there's accountability there, there's transparency there. But if you go to improvmissionaries.giftsforglory.com, you'll find out more about what we're doing. And also in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see partner with us. You click on that, and that'll take you to the page where you can give your support. If nothing else, if it's not in your budget, if God's not leading you that way, just take some time and pray. Pray for open doors, and pray for the ladies, for the men, and for the children that we'll be working with, that we'll see them healed, and eventually that we will see our entire work scope eliminated. Because I would love to be able to come back in a couple of years and say, hey, there's no more victims. Everybody has escaped. Everybody is in jail. and the slavery is over. I'd love to be able to give that testimony. So pray and see if God's leading you to help support our work. Again, it's improvmissionaries.giftsforglory.com. And if you have any questions or want to reach out to us, you can contact us through the website as well.
My bad. I want to thank you for joining us again, man. Guys, like you said, the links are below. Follow it, check it. If anything like prayer doesn't cost a thing, but a prayer can change someone's life.
Amen.
It can change yours as well, but a prayer can definitely help benefit for somebody. And if you can donate some money, man, definitely. This is to a good cause. This is to help people relive again, man. And this is something that really I wish someone could put a major focus in. And Dave, thank you for you and your wife to really want to make that change. It's pretty cool that you're going to be doing it full time and stuff like that, and going around and just trying to make someone laugh and stuff like that and make a real big difference. So that speaks a lot of volumes on y'all. But guys, thank y'all for watching. Dave, I hope you have a great, great rest of your day. And Dave, man, chair is always open. You let me know. We will set it up. We can talk wrestling. We can do anything. I don't care. I love having the chats with you, man. And thank you once again for doing this. And I hope you have a great, great rest of your day, man.
All right. Hey, and I realized I just missed an opportunity. We should have started the show with me just saying, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, man. God bless.
You.